Hey guys, welcome back. It's Pyro Squid. Today we're going to be doing a ranking of all the Escort maps slash basically payload, but because there's Escort and there's Hybrid, so we're doing Escort, not Hybrid. So all the maps where payload spawns in and you just have to push it. No capturing the point, you just push a payload. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. We're very close to 1,000 subscribers and I would like to hit that by the end of the month. So make that possible by just hitting the button below. Anyway, let's get right into this. Don't waste any time. At number 8 is Circuit Royale. This map is garbage. I don't think anyone really enjoys this map unless you're maybe like a Widow Hanzo one trick or maybe a Sigma player, because there is nothing to get out of this map. It is just full of these long sight lines which enforce snipers and more one-shots because of snipers being in the game. And Sigma is a fine character, but I think can be very, very annoying on maps like this, where it feels like there's actually nothing you can really do to push a Sigma off. Right, normally you can go Orisa, she can struggle here. And there's minimal amounts of off angles and space you can take as a player, right? You want to be able to take different spaces, have different choices, have loads of different angles you can take. In reality, it's mostly just these really long sights that you just sit on and you hope that your Widow hits the headshot and the other Widow doesn't. That's really all Circuit ends up being, and I think that just leads to being boring. Like, long sight lines are fine, but you've got to chuck in bits of off angling in there as well, whereas I can't really think of any really strong advantageous off angles that exist in Circuit. On top of that, it has the really shitty flank routes. Like, I just don't think flanking is actually viable or good on this map. They try to add some in some certain areas, but they're just either way too long of a detour, ends up leading to somewhere where you're not even close to people, or you get sniped before you could even reach that route. It's bad. It's bad. There's no real good way to flank and take these deeper angles, and it is just a really boringly designed map. It's just about sniping and playing long range. That's just not fun. I mean, look, if you can give me something that's good about Circuit, I would love to hear it, but there's just nothing that redeems this map. So, moving on. 7 is basically like Circuit, but just slightly better. It's Havana, right? Havana struggles with the exact same thing, with really long sight lines, especially on first and third. My god. But marginally better because you can angle slightly more and take slightly more flank routes. So, for instance, on first point, right away, you technically have that room on the right if you're attacking, and the room on the left, which add a few more angles and a few more spots to pressure the enemies, instead of all the focus being down main and on that top high ground. There's definitely a lot more going there. And also, second point Havana is actually quite good. I do enjoy second point Havana. I think it redeems the map massively. I would much rather play Havana than Circuit, just because second point, if you get to it, is a lot more enjoyable. Like, actual proper flank routes, proper angles, close range, but you can make some long sight lines. It's a lot better of a map, the second point. And then third point is complete garbage. I think there is absolutely nothing good about third point. They added a nice little flank route, but you have to push really far before that becomes really viable, unless you're like Sombra Tracer. So what ends up happening is people just play really far away on the high ground of defense and just snipe you and press you out. It's kind of horrid. I just do not like this map. It's really open on that third point, and it's uncomfortable open. There's like no proper good cover rooms to take. It feels so awkward. It feels wrong. It feels like just like a bad map. Third point is probably the worst map in the game. Anywho, don't want to spend too much longer. Let's move on to the next one. Number 6, kind of along the same theme as the previous two, is Junkertown. I think Junkertown is also really bad. Super long sight lines on first point and kind of on the other one's not as crazy, though more medium. But that first point is so open, and some people might enjoy that, but I think it is almost too open. It's weird to navigate for most characters, but it's slightly better because it has way more options than the previous two. At least on Junkertown, on first point at least, you can kind of wrap right, wrap left, height, high and low, right? It's not just strong sight lines on the floor. It's actually got some good high ground that everyone can access and take. And then second point is pretty decent. You know, you've got the room in the middle of it. You can kind of flank around through the tunnels on the right. You can jump high ground. There's a lot more options. Do I think they're perfect? No. Even though they're better than the previous two, I still don't think these are that enjoyable, but I definitely enjoy Junkertown way more than Havana and Circuit. Like, there's a bigger gap here. Junktown is a lot more enjoyable. Although I don't like third point either. Now, some people might like third point, but I just find third point is awkward for almost every character in the game. If you play a flyer or like a diver with vertical mobility, you won't mind it, but I think this is almost too much of a high groundy point. It's like there's not even an option here for the other ones. Like maps like Dorado, which will be coming up, have really potent high ground, but ways for people who aren't mobile to get up to them. The way to get up to the Junktown high ground is to basically go back to your defense, spawn, go up the staircase, jump onto the platform, and then take, like, it's bad. It's bad. It's really, really bad. I don't like third point at all. That kind of lets down the map a lot. It would probably be slightly higher actually if third point didn't exist. But because of the long sidelines and stuff, if you ban Widow, this map is actually quite enjoyable. The other maps are still sucky, because if you ban Widow, then it's like, okay, well now it's just awkward. But Junkertown is playable if without Widow. Like, you get rid of Widow, it's actually quite fun to play the map. So yeah, ban Widow on Junkertown and you might enjoy it. Number 5, this is sort of reaching my neutral takes. So the previous ones are I don't like the map, and we're on to 2 neutral maps here. Starting that one off is Shambali Monastery. Shambali is boring. I think that's not the way to put it. It's a boring map. I don't think it looks that interesting, and also it just plays super boring. I think first point is probably my favorite. Second is just so weird. I know they're going for like this odd thing, but it's just close, compact, while on corners, and then the flank on the right is the only option, and that one you can really wrap. Like if you're super mobile, it's quite fun to do that, but everyone else just struggles to make that angle work really well. I sometimes try to take it as brig because it's a good space to take, but you can't really support your team from it, so it's weird. I think it's a weird, awkward map. I don't love playing it, but if people vote for it and we play it, I will very much be like, fine, we'll play Shambali. I know how to play Shambali, and it's a fine map. It doesn't feel as uncomfortable as the previous ones. Like overall, the map's not terrible. It's just an awkward feeling map. Maybe I have to learn it better, but I just don't feel like it has anything that unique or fun about it. It's just kind of boring and awkward. So it could be a lot worse, but it also could be a lot better. Anyway, moving on. Number 4 is Route 66. This is my definitive neutral map. Not even neutral map on this tier list in general. I'm not like a massive fan of Route 66, right? I mean, technically it's quite high up on this list, but I don't really like most Escort maps. But I'm also not like a massive hater of this map. It's fine. It's just neutral. Again, it is just like, oh, it's Route 66. Okay, it's an Overwatch map. Whatever, we'll play it. It's fine. I think first point is quite all right. I don't love it. I think it's, again, can be really awkward coming around that corner, because the high ground, you almost need to jump. If you can't jump the high ground, there's not many other options. It's weird. Second point though is great. I actually quite like second point. I think having a massive house with different layers in it is a really smart way of adding choice and just like decisions you can make on what angles you take and stuff. I think that is a good addition. I really like the second point. It is quite a versatile map as well. I think, yeah, it got some long sight lines that, you know, will help Widows, Hanzos, Ashe, or whatever. But I think there again is a lot more counterplay to those heroes and a lot more options for you to play weirder team comps here. Compared to the last ones, there isn't that much. But this one, I think you can definitely do some more fun things. You know, you can definitely like speed comp your way through mains onto high grounds and stuff, and you can definitely dive easily and poke easily. There's a lot more options here. Anyway, that's Route 66. Okay, number 3. This is a hot take, but I used to also have a hot take. I don't know what happened to this map. It's Dorado. I used to hate this map. I despise this map. If you knew me like a year ago, I'd be like, Dorado, worst map in the entire game. But I, for some reason, passively come around to it, because when I think about Dorado, I don't even think about that negatively. I go, oh, I know how to play that map. Yeah, I kind of want to play Dorado. And I don't know why, and I just straight up don't know what it is. I think once you learn kind of how it's played, it becomes a little easier. You don't even realize, like, yeah, it's uncomfortable, but Dorado has a lot more options than you think. So first point can be awkward and uncomfortable, but you do have a really, like, it's quite a wide flank on the right, and you can go under, and you can kind of force main sometimes. There are a lot more options than you think. And also, something I learned about second point, you don't necessarily, with your team comp, have to take that high ground. There are ways to just basically force cart as a team, take the far left space, maybe even flank really far on the right, if it depends on what character you are. And you could find a weird off angle like that. If you do that with Widow, sometimes it can work. I think it's a map with lots of choices. I think it's actually a lot more dynamic of a map than people might think. It does have a really weird first point, but I think that's kind of cool and plays in its favor. Obviously, if you don't like playing the first point, then sure, you'll disagree. But I do think the first point is quite fun once you kind of get the hang of how to play it. Also, I love flanking and I love playing flankers, so you can't really blame me for loving this map because I think this is really, really good for unique flanks. Also, it can have long angles. Like I was talking about how I don't really like long sightlines. It can. This map has some long sightlines, but there's a lot more counterplay to those angles and a lot more middle options and short options, right? There's actual option here. Anyway, that's Dorado. I know people will disagree with me, but let's just go on to my top 2, which are actually 2 maps I like. Like, even Dorado is still, like, it's just above neutral. It's like a 6 out of 10 map. I don't like both the Escort maps, but these last 2, I actually quite enjoy. Number 2, Watchpoint Gibraltar. This is a classic Overwatch map. This is like Overwatch, the map, right? It is super dive heavy. It, like, literally all 3 points are really good for dive. Actually, third can be played a lot, not as divey, but really, really unique map, distinct map. I think it's fun. It is a very difficult map. Now, when I say that, people go, oh, what does that even mean? It is a difficult map to play, but it can be super rewarding to learn. It is a difficult map. I know that sounds weird, but it is. If you were to, like, scrim this map, if you played against a team that know the map really well and play it really well, it is a difficult map. If you were to play against a team that scrim it, they're going to play it so much, like, better than you almost, because it's not even just like, oh, they can play the game better. This map is a different way of playing. It's a very weird map. I'm not great at Gibraltar or anything, but I do think it is fun to watch and fun to play on, and that's why. Also, second point is really fun. I think it's a really dynamic map. I think the second point has the extreme high ground, extreme low ground, lots of different like little flank routes and ways to play it, and if you play like Trace or something, you can have a little bit of fun here, and even character like Ash can have a great time because you can just play those longer angles. There's a lot of options. Also, I enjoy dive, and dive is good here, so, you know. Anyway, let's go to my number 1. This is one of my favorite maps in the entire game. It's Rialto. Rialto is such a good map. Okay, I haven't talked much about visuals on these maps yet, but Rialto? Visually beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful map. I love how this map looks. A lot of Escort maps can have like parts where it feels really awkward, or it feels awkward through a long period of time, but I think Rialto is one of the only maps that just is never awkward. It is just consistently satisfying and fun to play on. There's so many fun ways to play it. You know, you've got loads of different flank routes, off angles, high ground, low ground, long sight lines, short sight lines. There's so much choice. So much choice. Like, I probably have talked about this one less than the other ones, but I just do think this map generally has like no faults, and so in a way there's not much to talk about. It's not my favorite map anymore, but it doesn't do anything wrong, and so that's why I think it just deserves to be really high up. Like, you can't hate Rialto. I just think you play Rialto and you go, oh yeah, no, this is a good map. It's a good map. It's one of the good ones. It might not be your favorite map, and you might not have anything distinct about it that you love, but you just know it doesn't have anything wrong with it, and that's what makes it really good. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining. That's all about the maps. If you want me to rank the maps of a different game mode next, let me know in the comments below, and I'll get ranking. Subscribe for more. Peace out.